Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Now, it's no secret that I have gotten enamored with Mothership. This sci-fi horror homage to Alien, cassette futurism, and the old school renaissance of TTRPGs really infected me with a parasite that will leave a lasting mark on my brain and body. Its sleek design, its clever formatting, and its incredible content had me before I even played the game. It's also the first tabletop role-playing game ever that felt exactly the way at the table that I imagined it in my head when I was reading it. And for me, that's a huge accomplishment. I cannot recommend it highly enough. But there's one thing about Mothership that is just missing. Something that I think was excluded intentionally in order to double down on its deadly, sleek, efficient shape. But it's something that I feel really is lacking. And today, in this video, I'm going to present you with a tool that is designed to fix that issue. When the 7 crew members of the Nostromo, well, 8 if you count Jones, awaken for their last time, they have something that our bare bones Mothership characters don't have. They all have relationships. Relationships that color the opening 30 minutes of the movie before everything goes pear-shaped, and relationships that also inform and define these characters' interactions past when the horror begins to ramp up. I believe that the relationships and not just the qualities of the characters are why we start to get attached to these characters and why it starts to hurt when they start dying off or their livelihood gets threatened. We have Parker and Brett, who work in the guts of the ship, and they have the tightest bond, one that is kind of wound around their slim paychecks.
We deserve full shares, right, baby?
You see, Mr. Park and I feel that the bonus situation has never been on an equitable level.
They are collectively the biggest pain in the neck for the captain, Dallas.
Well, you get what you contracted for like everybody else.
And their immediate supervisor, who is the warrant officer and galactic badass, Ripley. And Ripley, who is kind of like management level, is one of the few people who can like stand up to their captain.
Ripley, this is an order. You hear me?
Yes, I read you. The answer is negative.
Dallas, meanwhile, seems to have a soft spot for their XO, the over-curious Kane. However, Lambert has a bit of a rivalry with Ripley. They kind of get snippy with each other.
That's not our system.
I know that.
And meanwhile, Ash seems like everyone just barely tolerates him, except for Ripley, who has some kind of respect for him, maybe out of an awareness that if she or any of the other crew members get hurt, it will be him that is working on them. But he is too powerfully weird for the rest of them.
Penalty of total forfeiture of shares.
So this detailed and very specific little network of relationships between these co-workers and sometime friends just sparkles with the gritty life and the corporate horror that is the world of these movies. As role players, our relationships give us the appropriate point of view to be able to roleplay. Our relationships help guide us and guide our choices as we move through the world and interact with arguably the most important other characters, which are the other PCs in the game. So how do we add these things to a game of Mothership, which does no work to build your character's backstory up other than slapping a patch on you and giving you a cute little trinket? Actually, I have a way to do it pretty easily. I present to you my relationship tables. The concept has been stolen from Rememberex, which is a remarkable RPG of 80s nostalgia by my friend Sean Jaffe, and I've adapted it to fit into this world of Mothership. It functions pretty simply. At session 0, right after the characters are rolled, you go around the table rolling 2d10. One of them is actually going to be a d5, and it's going to decide which one of these tables you're going to roll on, and the other gives you a result on the table. Let's do a couple of them right now. All right. It's recording. And lastly, our 2d10s. All right, before we kick off, let me roll a trio of characters on the handy dandy Mothership app. This app is super nice. I haven't talked about this at all before, but Mothership has a dedicated app, which is at least in the iOS store, which allows you to roll up characters very easily. It's a great way to try out the game. It also has like a learn to play kind of click through, which is on the website, which is super helpful if you just want to learn how to play and you haven't watched my how to play video yet, Zap, which I think is, well, I think it's pretty good. It's an exhaustive learn to play of Mothership. The first little bit is all you need to show to your players. The rest is everything that anyone could possibly want to know about the rules of Mothership, except for the ship stuff. Another video coming soon. But the app is free at the base and you can keep one character in it at a time, but you have to pay, I think, $5 to get the full version. It's a simple update to get as many characters as you want, and if you're playing a lot of Mothership or just this is what you like doing, it's definitely worth it. The app functions very efficiently. All right, let me roll up 3 characters. Okay, great, let's do this. All right, so let's dive into this. So I have a bunch of characters on here. Let's say that this is like my table of characters. So let's say that I'm looking at Powell Truman. Powell is a Marine. He has, let me see, standard battle dress. He rolled really, really well. He also has a smart rifle, which is nothing to smirk at, and binoculars, and a personal locator. What's his trinket? A DNR beacon necklace and help wanted patch. That's all that we know about him right now. So that's Powell Truman. So let's do Powell Truman, and let's say we wanted to figure out his relationship with Isabel. Isabel Ham is our scientist, a doctor, has a lab coat, has surgery for a skill, very, very much a typical doctor as far as the stats go. The trinket that they have are male enhancement pills, shoddy, and the patch is if I'm running, keep up, which is on their back. I love these little details so much. So now I'm gonna take these 2d10 and I'm gonna roll them. Let's have the white dice be the d5 that'll decide which one of these tables I'm gonna be rolling on, and the black dice be the result on whatever table. Make it good. Okay, so a 10, so we're going all the way up to the 5th table, which is going to be professional, all right? So they have a professional relationship, and our result was 4, which is partners. So at the table, what would happen is that we'd sit down, we select these 2 characters to roll for, roll the dice, and we'd get our result. And now these 2 players would talk back and forth about what they think this means. And as we're also in this theoretical Mothership game, kind of deciding what positions we have on the ship, I feel like one of these 2 is going to become the captain. Right? They're gonna be like, okay, I feel like probably I'm like the head of this ship, like, but we do it together. Maybe the Marine, right? Powell, who has that super battle dress and the smart rifle, maybe they are the like kind of captain of this ship, but they need the scientist along on this joint venture. Maybe the players think that their 2 characters started out so positive about this thing, and then their partnership has kind of soured as money has gotten scarcer and scarcer and scarcer. And if you're the DM, you can add to this and be like, no, I don't think that's quite right with the game that I have planned and the campaign that we're looking forward to running. Let's say that the exact opposite has happened. You guys have gotten super successful, everything's been great, but if the players are still married to their 2 characters kind of drifting apart, maybe success has pulled them in 2 different directions. One of them wants to spend more money, the other wants to save more money, so that we have this conflict between the 2 characters. Instant role-playing juice, and as we approach this situation in front of us, which is going to be dangerous, scary, and spooky, now we have a way that these 2 characters are going to interact with each other just naturally, just from the given circumstances that we have established for them. Okay, let's do another. Let's stick with Powell, right? We kind of know that he's the captain. Let's say that he's the first person. He's to the DM's left, and we're gonna roll all the way around the table. So we did Powell and whoever's next to him, which would be the player of Isabel Ham. So then let's go down and let's do Russell Gilder. This is the teamster who has industrial equipment, jury rigging, piloting, and 0G, has a nail gun, has standard crew attire, some assorted tools, clearly like a mechanic, but also the nail gun is interesting because that suggests that he might be even like a carpenter, right? But also that piloting This is probably the pilot of the ship. He has a lunchbox. His trinkets are a stress ball that reads 0 stress in 0G and a patch that reads security guard. Maybe a past occupation that he since dropped. Maybe it's a joke. I love that. Okay, cool. So we've got these 2 characters. Let's roll again. Okay, 7 this time. So that would be 4 on the table and a 2 on here. I love this. This is the exact opposite of the very serious professional, we're partners in an enterprise together. This is video game squad. So the 2 characters, these 2 players are going to be bandying back and forth about like, oh my God, let's say it's like a first-person shooter, or maybe we play in an MMO that no one else knows about and everyone hates. And every time we get into port, we go to like the internet cafe or whatever equivalent that would be, and they like set up and try to level as much as they can. Maybe they're like really good, maybe they're really terrible. Now we have a bunch of interesting little details and stakes as well, right? Powell, our captain, is gonna he's like friends and has a shared interest with Gilder, right? He's not gonna want him to die. And in a game where we are always kind of worried about who's gonna die and considering who's gonna save who are super important questions in Mothership, to me at least. That's a super important quality and a super interesting thing to be thinking about from the jump. Okay, let's do one more just for fun. So we had Powell. Let's do another one for Powell, because we're starting to figure out how Powell feels about all these different people. Let's do one with Whit Mulholland, who is another Marine. Whit rolled up a machine gun. Woo! Advanced battle dress, has a heads-up display. Their trinket is seditious smut called the Captain Ordered. And their patch just says, do your job. That is the most Marine space grunt thing I've ever heard. All right, so we rolled a 3 on the 5, so that would be a 2 for the table, which would be friendly. Makes sense to me. They're both Marines. Maybe they're vets together. Just saying. And then the number on the dice is 5, which would be enemies. Oh, that's juicy. And now the warden gets to kind of help these players tease out why they're enemies and what that means. Were they friends until recently? The thing that pops into my head instantly, and if my players didn't have anything that they were like jumping on, I would say that there used to be 3 of these Marines that like jumped into this, right? Powell, keep forgetting their names. Powell and Whit Mulholland, right? The one that we're rolling for with Powell. And then a third person. Let's call the third person James. And within the last couple of months, a job went slightly south. Something went bad. Maybe there was just a simple malfunction that happened and James got stuck on the other side of a door, and Powell had to make the call to save additional people or money or funds or something that they were doing, and sacrificed James, who was like Whit's closest friend. So now Whit blames Powell for this loss. Juicy. Okay. That was my first test of this system. I gotta be honest, I did that fresh in front of the camera for y'all, and that went really, really well. Okay, that is it. That is it. So if you watch this far, please like, subscribe, hit that little notification bell. And if you really enjoyed this, or if you're looking forward to more Mothership content, throw me a little space emoji in the comments down below. It's editing miles. I just realized that in my fugue of trying to get this video shot and edited and up and ready for y'all, I forgot to mention that you can access these relationship tables right now on my Patreon at patreon.com/milesawaygames. It will require you pledging, so please consider going to do that. But I forgot to mention it because I'm trying something new and different that I was really excited about. Let's go back to past Miles. I am going to be trying a new thing for me. Trekeros. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Trekeros, who is another tabletop role-playing game content creator on YouTube. A couple months ago, Trekeros made this tool, this website called Quest Check. which basically allows people to sign up to be playtesters for producers or designers or whoever needs one, specifically for tabletop role-playing games. And I need playtesters. I want to see how this tool functions in your Mothership games, be that one-shot or campaign. So I am going to figure out some of the details later. Hopefully Editor Miles will be able to put it up right here. But I want to hire about 10 playtesters to try this out on Mothership games that they have coming up. What I need from my playtesters will be on the profile on QuestCheck, and you'll be able to find it in the doodly-doo down below. We'll be closing applications in like mid-September. So you have a lot of time to sign up for this, and I hope you do, because I'm very curious. One, I'm very curious about what this tool is going to do for all of y'all. And two, I'm very curious how Tekaros's QuestCheck system is going to work. So if you want to earn a little bit of money doing a little bit of playing Mothership at your own table at home, this is a way to do it. And you can help me make this thing even better. So that is it. But there's actually one more thing that I'm cooking up right now, which is going to be probably a part of the playtest if I get it done in time, and which will make this exercise of creating character relationships at the beginning of the game have a chance to mature a little more. It's something that is designed to help keep your characters alive for a little bit longer, something that is really hard to do in Mothership unless you seriously change the game. But it's also designed to help you tease out the backstory of these characters, especially for players who really, really like that part of tabletop role-playing games and who maybe miss it from coming over from a more hero-centric game like Dungeons & Dragons. If you watched right here until the end, thank you so much. I see you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate you. So that's in the pipeline, but for now, stay miles away from boredom, and I'll see you next time.